Welcome back. Chris Smith for Chris Kenny. In a few moments, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky will address a joint sitting of the Australian Parliament. Prime Minister Scott Morrison and Opposition Leader Anthony Albanese will welcome the Ukrainian leader before he then appears via video link in the House of Representatives. It's quite an epic event in the history of the Parliament. We'll bring it to you live in just a few moments from now. But it comes as Ukraine continues to struggle against their Russian oppressors. Just yesterday, Russia promised to scale back attacks while peace talks occurred in Turkey. But the shelling has not stopped, with the Russian army continuing to bombard Cherniv and also the capital, Kiev. Millions of Ukrainians have now fled the country. Thousands have lost their lives, and cities across Ukraine lay in ruins. Keith Suter is the Managing Director of the Global Directions think tank, a very intuitive foreign affairs expert. He joins us now. Keith, good to see you again. All these promises we're hearing almost on a daily basis this week have been made by Russia while these talks go on. I get the impression they are just deadly deceptions.
They are indeed. So Russia is trying to buy time. The problem is that Russia no longer knows what it's about. Clearly, the invasion, which they thought was going to be done very quickly, has failed. Ukraine has basically won. So by the looks of it, when you look at how the forces are dispersed, the Russians have still got control over eastern Ukraine, which they've had now for 8 years, but the vast majority of the country, including the places you've just mentioned, like the capital city, Kiev, which is over in the west, they remain still free. And so the Russians have got a real problem on their hands. The military have performed much worse than they had expected, and the Ukrainians have performed much better than everybody expected. And also, clearly, the United States is cooperating in terms of the sharing of intelligence. Biden seems to know as much about what's going on as Putin, if not more. So, yes, it's been an absolute schmozzle, a disaster for Putin, and the 20 years of progress they've tried to make in terms of bringing Russia in from the cold, all that's been squandered. It's going to take years to rebuild Russian prestige in the world.
I'm going to get to Parliament House in just under 2 minutes' time, but tell me, the fact that the Ukrainian president, in the middle of defending his country in a war, comes in virtually straight into the Australian Parliament, a joint sitting, I think it's rather significant, isn't it?
It is. What President Zelensky is doing is showing that he's one of the world's best communicators. He's already spoken over the heads of the American government by dealing directly with Congress and then through to American media, the same with the British, the same in the European Union, and now we're going to see the same process tonight. In other words, that he'll be speaking to the Australian Parliament and over the Parliament speaking directly into the homes of Australian people, thanking Australians for the support that we've given, but also asking for continued assistance.
So it'll be a courtesy call, but you think he'll ask for more from Australia?
Yeah, absolutely, because he's asking more from everyone else. He's doing all the heavy lifting. NATO's not helping at all. He wants the skies to be cleared of Russian planes, for example. So there are a lot of things that could still be done to help him, but also, of course, the supply of more equipment, which Australia has been helping in, and the resettlement of asylum seekers as well from Ukraine.
OK, if I interrupt you, Keith, it's only to go live to the Prime Minister, but just one other question. Sure. One other question. Are these peace talks a waste of time then?
I think so at the moment, although congratulations to President Erdogan of Turkey. At least he's trying to do something. So as Winston Churchill used to say, talk is better than war. So it's good that the initiative is going ahead, but I'm not terribly optimistic about what's going to come out of it. Russia doesn't know what it wants. It's in a real mess. It can't back down. It's sort of redesigning what its original vision was by saying, oh, well, we only really wanted to control the eastern part of the country anyway. Well, you've been doing that for 8 years. Why have you destroyed so much? Why have you made 10% of the population asylum seekers elsewhere in Europe? This is an awful situation. As I say, Putin is a war criminal. I agree with President Biden for once. Putin is a war criminal. And there are a lot of other generals and others who also need to go on trial.
Yeah, very, very true. The United Nations also investigating that, and hopefully they're on the ground and can gather the evidence that's required for all of that.